Z height in the MR1. Oh, and then also while I was doing all this, the MR1, every time I go to turn it on, I have like it's very challenging. Like I have the computer right next to it, and I have the electronics enclosure mounted on the back leg. So I have to get in between those two and all the way around to the bottom of it to turn on the power to the electronics for the 220 for the spindle. And then it just was a nuisance to get it to hit the switches to turn it on. So I just put two momentary switches and labeled them. One is 120 volt spindle power, and the other one is 110 volt motion and electronics. So that honestly is a big quality of life change, because every time I come in here to use this machine, that's a big pain in the ass to get into it, and it drives me nuts. And honestly, with another mill right here, it would probably deter me from using that. You know, it would not, it's really not that big of a deal, but when you do it all the time and every time, and you just need to make a quick cut, like that's why that's not really the mill to make quick cuts. Anyways, this is what this is for. But this is the DRO I got for this, the screen of it anyway, the actual readout. So this one actually looks a little bit nicer than the other one, the actual clarity of the screen, but the other one has more functionality as far as I know so far. I haven't explored this one enough to know for sure. I've seen several of the functions it has. How do I get out of here? Is there not an exit button? Okay, well, maybe this one's going to be a pain in the ass. I don't know. I hope not, because the screen is much nicer than the one I had. The one I had was very rudimentary. Like it was just digits. You know, it didn't have any smarts. I mean, like I said, neither of these are touchscreen, and even this, even though it's not a touchscreen, it's going to have this on it. This big heavy piece of plastic over it. So, you know, it's clear so you can see it, but you sure as hell wouldn't be able to touchscreen it, you know, through this. But this is what's appropriate for a workshop. This is a workshop. Anyways, I'm sure you see my point. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guys that made it, it was a smart idea, because a lot of people will use it. And honestly, it's less expensive than if I had gotten the Precision Matthews DRO. Theirs is like, they charge like $800 more for that, which is to me astonishing, because it's a $300 tool. It's just ridiculous that they charge $800 for it. It's I don't know. Anyways, they also charge $300 for one axis power feed. As far as the power feed, it's all done. So on my Z, if I want to go up, and if I want to go down, and then there's a little speed dial right next to it. I'll show you real quick. So if you see that lever, it actually says forward and back. So I'm going to just put a label on it, or a couple small ones that say up and down. It says forward, stop, back, which is really up, stop, down. So up, stop, down, and then I can change the speed, which you can go very slow, which I like, because when you're getting close to where you want to be, you want to go very slow. You know, and it's definitely faster than cranking it. For sure, it's faster than cranking it, and that's good enough for me. And then I put this. So this actually has a setup for a coolant system. Not really a full setup, but it has a drain in the table. There's a drain right here that comes out, and I put a fitting to it, and it goes down underneath the table where I have. Oh, sorry, I forgot to zoom back out. It goes down, the hose that I put for a drain goes down underneath the table and into this right here, this is one of those pumps that for when you're cutting threads, generally on pipe, because you have to oil it a lot because you're cutting through a lot of steel. But for any threading, when you have to, so that you're reusing the cutting oil, you're not just like squirting it all over the place, because you kind of have to hose it down with when you're cutting threads in a pipe. I do have a pipe thread cutter back there, so I do that. But I mean, I use that for all kinds of stuff. So when I'm using cutting oil in here, I don't think I ever am going to use enough on the mill to have to drain out there. But I do want to be able to use this, which, I mean, this kind of mist, it makes a mist of oil. So there's no oil going into it right now, but I mean, if I let a good enough amount of oil in it, it comes out like it's a mist. So it kind of sucks because you're breathing it. But anyways, I do have a ton of ventilation in here. If I turn on the vortex and the hood vent fan and the inline fan for the hood vent fan, I get a lot of air out of here real quick. But and then the X-axis is working great also. So this is a stepper motor. This is an actual stepper. It's not a servo. This is a NEMA 34, and I got the NEMA 34. I ended up using a shorter one. I had a longer one on there, but it was protruding off the side pretty far. Let me just zoom in real quick to see that. It was protruding off the side pretty far, but that's just a short NEMA 34. And a bracket that's 3D printed by the gentleman who designed it, which he did a great job. Honestly, it bolts right on, and if you print it with enough infill and enough layers and enough top and bottom layers and outer layers, it really comes out incredibly strong. I had one print that had a problem during the print, and this is the beginning of it. So just so you can see how dense it is, I mean, I don't know if you could even see the holes in there, but they're very close together. It's very congested in there as far as infill. The holes are not even big enough to put. I mean, this is a 3mm Allen wrench. That's definitely not going to fit. A 2mm Allen wrench probably isn't going to fit either. I'm going to try that. This is a 2. No, definitely not. It's way, so it's very tight, the infill. I mean, that's why I have this, because I didn't know, honestly, this might have come in handy if I was going to mount something else there. Who knows? This is the perfect bolt pattern, but I didn't end up needing to. But anyways, the infill is very dense. I'm trying to show you literally how dense it is. This is a 1.5. The 1.5 doesn't even fit. So this is, if you see the infill, let me just put it where you can see in the light. There you go. So this is a 1.5mm, and it doesn't even fit into one of those holes. It'll like sit on the top of one, but it doesn't go in. I'd have to use a 1.3 or an 0.9 to get into one of those holes. It's very dense. So this is I think I did 50 or 60% infill. It looks like 50%. So 50% infill, and there's 8 walls, top and bottom and outer. I did 8 walls all around, and that's it. This took 8.5 hours to print the full size. Which, I mean, obviously this is only a small part of it. This is only that far. So it's got, let's see, it's got, 3.5 times this height, but this is the widest part. So, no, actually, it just changes shape. So it's the widest part, but then it gets bigger the other way as it goes farther out to accommodate the motor, because the motor's pretty darn wide. But anyways, and then I got this small rotary table for the mill. for when I have to make holes or whatever in a circle. I thought that would be convenient because there's a lot of times that I need to make, like on a perimeter of a circle, you need to make 4 perfect holes, which the DRO, both of the 2 DROs have settings for that, and it'll tell you exactly how much to move in what direction to get to where you want to make your next hole to make 4 perfectly aligned. Or you can program all that as you set it up for a certain operation. But yeah, so that's about it. And then I always had a good boring bar, and I always used an end mill to countersink, but I ended up getting a countersink bit set. So this is M3, M4, M5, M6, M7. No, I'm sorry, M3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So that's M3 up to M12 countersink bits, and these are, they're the countersink to accommodate like a socket head cap screw, and then the boring bar. I got these. I had this already. I already had a boring bar, but I didn't have indexable boring heads. I had these ones right here. So it's the same size, 3/4 shaft. But I got, so I still have some of these, the carbide ones left that haven't been trashed. But this will be nice to not have to throw away, when I, or not throw it away, but use it to make something out of the steel or whatever, when I get it burnt out, and there's a carbide insert brazed onto it, and I'm not going to go brazing new carbide onto it. I just don't have the interest to go that far. But anyways, the indexable ones should save me a lot of trouble on that. And then some hole saws and some milling bits. Most of my milling bits are in the other bench for the CNC. But what else did I do? That's a tramming tool. I got these. I got a couple of precision tools, for checking my work and whatnot. After I got this mill, the tramming tool. This has been very helpful. I actually found the little bit of run out that this machine had on it, and I fixed it, and that was a big help there. And then this is a real center finder, like not one of those things that just offsets when you hit the side type of thing. This will actually show you the center. It's really cool. I think this is a relatively new type of tool. This goes around, so you turn your mill on very slow, right? And this spins, and then this is like a little lock that you take out. You take this piece out so that it has some play to move up and down. All right, so that comes out, and then you put this in the mill, and this is, I believe, a 3/8, and then this stays there, and you have different tips you can put in it for different applications, but it's for finding the center, right? So you hold this steady and let it spin, and then this can spin right in the middle. Hold on. That can actually thread. I should thread that in there kind of tight so it doesn't keep coming out, but I guess probably most people take it out after they use it, because it's not something you need all the time, but anytime you need to find the center of something, like of a hole to make it wider or something like that, you want to use this. So while it's spinning, this can spin freely in the middle. You see the end of it spinning, and see, as it goes outward, you can find your center very easily with this. I mean, the directions are right here. So, I mean, I can show you exactly how you do it. Yeah, so you can do like on the outer perimeter or the inner perimeter, and you can find your dead center very, very easily. And then there's different tips for it, which I have a bunch of different tips for dial indicators or indicators, digital dial indicators, whichever. But these are not the same type of tips. These are long tips, and they're different shapes for different things. So they're like see, some of them are really long, to find like the inside of a bore or whatever it is. You know, like the bore might widen on the way down. You need to be able to find whatever you need to find the center of. But anyways, I thought that was a great tool, and you know, Accusise is crazy expensive. Not crazy, they're not crazy expensive, because when you look at machining tools other places, they're actually relatively reasonable. But then, like, you know, Shars and like a couple other manufacturers that are really reputable and make good stuff are a lot cheaper than Accusise, so it feels like they're expensive, but then again, they really do make very good stuff. That lathe chuck is by far the best lathe chuck I've ever had. Absolutely. I've never used a better. It's so smooth, and I don't know if I think I've pretty much covered everything with this, because I've already done a couple other segments, but the Z-axis wasn't done. The Diaro isn't still done, so there's not really much else to cover. But I just want to show you briefly. I've never seen a lathe chuck. Every other lathe chuck I've had, you know, these things right here that your chuck key goes into, right? These things always wobble around, right? They're always like free floating, which they need to be to some degree because you're going to turn it, but these don't move. These, until you turn it, they're solid. Like, I'm even like trying to move it. I'm like you know, pushing it back and forth, and it'll move a little tiny bit, but there's no wobbling in there. Like on my 5-inch, and on a well, my 5-inch is somewhat solid too, but it's also not on there spinning around. I don't know. I got a different 6-inch before I got this. I have a 6-inch 4-jaw. I got a different 6-inch 3-jaw scroll. I got a different one that was less expensive, and I ended up sending it back because of that, because of run out, because of quality issues. And I wanted it. I didn't want to send it back, but it was not up to snuff. So then I found this, and I got it, and I was very impressed with it. And you know, I still am. And this has 2 sets of jaws, and you don't even have to change it. The jaws split in half, and then they line up perfectly, so you can put them right back. And you're not going to misalign them by taking them off and flipping them over, but you see the lines where they connect. So it's you can turn them around, but you don't have to take them out. So you'll never lose your, you know, I don't even know if they're numbered, but then again, why would they be? Because you don't need to take them out. So it's that's a nice bonus too. But yeah, I'm very happy with that, and just how tight it locks incredibly tight, but how well these things meet up together in the center, it's just very well centered. Sorry about that. It's very well centered, incredibly well centered. Let me put it somewhere where I can spin it kind of quick and you can see. Actually, matter of fact, you know what? Where's my my small? Here we go. I'll just put an extension on this, and I'll make it move fast so you can see how smooth the motion of the jaws are. Because that's what I was impressed by. What I'm still impressed by, that and I mean, just really, frankly, everything about it. There's a lot of good qualities. How tight the machining is, how precise they are, and how precise the jaws are, and how firm they lock things down, and the fact that you never have to take them out. You never have to take the jaws out and then keep track of numbers. Like my other lathe chucks are laser engraved with the number of each one. I have like 1, 2, and excuse me, 1, 2, and 3 laser engraved on the jaws. So that I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. If you think I'm exaggerating, I'll show you. And I actually have every single. This is my metal stock. That's mostly aluminum, but there's some titanium in there. And then this is stuff that I got for this project and a couple others, and my extra lathe stuff. So yes, this is where I need to be anyway. So here's extra lathe jaws. Look, laser engraved. And my change gears that I don't need anymore. 60 tooth. Oh, that one must have been on the machine when I did them. The ones that stayed in the machine, I didn't laser engrave because I didn't bother taking them out. But that wasn't actually all that long ago, and that's why this was a 120. I did it a couple places. I didn't do this all that long ago, and I really didn't care about the ones in it because I knew I wasn't going to be using them for long. And sure enough, I'm not using them anymore. So anyways, big shout out to James from Cloud 42 for being so generous and sharing his frankly, the guy's incredibly intelligent, and thank you for sharing your creation with the community and making it available at a very reasonable price. Like I said, guys, the touchscreen interface, or the not touchscreen interface appropriately, the interface board and screen and the buttons, and this is, you know, this is looks like it's custom made. I don't know if it's engraved. If it seems like it could be laser engraved. And the buttons are 3D printed, but it's all very, very well done. It's high quality, and the spacers are accurate. That you screw this down to the first part of the board with the buttons in the middle, and there's a spacer, and then there's a part of the spacer. It keeps everything aligned, and it also keeps it spaced out properly. So, and then the daughter board that goes on to the Texas Instrument board, you get all of that stuff together for like $53. It's very inexpensive. The TI board that goes on is more than this whole kit. So it doesn't come with the box. I just 3D printed that box. But I like I said, I'm going to put it into one of those aluminum bud boxes. I do have 2 of them already. I just have to decide if I'm going to CNC machine it or if I'm going to just screw that into it. But I'm going to do one or the other. So that was a temporary fix. But anyways, so yeah, that's going to be it for now. The chuck, I didn't have the extension for I was going to use my right angle impact and make it move quickly so you could see how smooth they move, but I don't have the extension over there. And honestly, if you guys care, you can leave it in the comments and I will do it again. But I'm very exhausted. It's been a long night and this has been a long project, and I'm shot. So I'm going to go home and get some rest. So I appreciate you guys, and I'm grateful to have finally gotten that done. I think I'm going to put this camera away, put the rest of my tools away, cut that one hole so that the stepper can stick out, and that's it. I'm going home. But yeah, hopefully, you know, the combination of these segments of this video, I'll probably do one more. Thank you. I'll probably do one more with the DRO finished on the mill. That's the only thing that I haven't been able to show you. That's I didn't even start mounting the scales yet. I took them out of the box and the screen, but that's it. I haven't even started on them. But my lathe was already done. I already had scales there, and you know, I just got better scales and put them in the same place. They're the same length, everything. It was very straightforward, very easy. I already made all the mounting holes for it, and everything was ready to go. So it was an easy transition. More of a transition getting used to the interface than anything else. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. I just wanted to give you guys a progress report and show you that the electronic lead screw is done, and it can be done, and he made it very easy. If you go to his GitHub and use all the information that's there for you, you can. Honestly, I had all the other stuff because the shipping is through eBay. It's typical United States Postal Service, so it takes like 5 days or so to get the stuff, the Cloud 42 kit. And I'll show you. I ordered another one. You can see. I'll show you exactly how much it cost. Because oh, look, here's his GitHub right here. I was just on it. Do I have? Yes, eBay purchases. Right here. Okay, see, there's one that's ordered and delivered, And there's one that's ordered. Why is it unpaid? View order details. I paid for it. Yeah, it is paid. Why does it say unpaid? I paid for it. Okay, so I just ordered that. I think it was last night. Today's the 17th. That was the night before last. So I ordered it the night before last. But $61.64 with shipping for $3.98 and tax for $3.68. So honestly, you can't go wrong for $61 or basically $60. For $60, you know, and I'll show you something else. The board, for the Texas Instrument board, is literally more than that just for the board. I hate when that thing pops up right in the middle of what I'm trying to click on. All right, here's the board right there. $80 on Amazon. So that's the board that goes with it. And it's, here's one right here. And that's it. So this is already flashed with his firmware. And his GitHub has all of that stuff. It literally has everything. What is going on with this screen over here? What the heck? Oh, it's trying to do an update. It's probably something to do with the graphics drivers. Oh, that's the coding software that you have to use to do this. Hold on, let me show you. Yes, this is the coding software that you use. I mean, if you guys do anything with 3D printing or CNC machines, I mean, you're used to this stuff. You can't build 3D printers or CNC machines without doing some coding. You have to know how to do some of it. So I've learned more than I had to, but that's because I get totally involved in my hobbies to an unhealthy extent. And I know that, and I'm trying to step back a little bit and not get so crazy, because I'll tell you why. I get engulfed in my hobbies because for a lot of years I didn't get to have any hobbies. I took care of my two brothers when I was 15 years old. I worked on a roof. I had to drop out of high school to work, and I went back and finished high school and got a diploma, but I did it at night after work as a young adult in my early 20s. So I've been working my whole life, and I've been taking care of people my whole life. And I finally had an opportunity where I had been successful enough to not feel guilty spending the money like that. You know what I mean? I still felt guilty for spending the money, but I made enough that it just kind of got dissolved, absorbed. I mean, there was a few years there that I did really, really well, and it was not for anything else but hard work. I worked my ass off, and I mean, when I say I worked my ass off, there were times that it was snowing out, and I used to walk 4.5 hours from New Britain, Connecticut to Madison, Connecticut. So if anybody's from Connecticut, you know how far that is. If anybody's not, you're free to look it up on Google. Look up New Britain, Connecticut, and then look up Madison, Connecticut, and see how far apart they are. It's like a 45-minute drive. So walking, it's like almost 5 hours. And I walk fast, and I got there faster than the GPS would have quoted me walking. But 4 hours, 4.5, 5 hours in the morning. This is at 1 a.m. to get there by 6. So, I mean, I did that. I did that for a whole winter. And then the whole following year, I took the bus. I took the bus to go to work, and I worked 12, 14-hour days. All I did was work, eat, and sleep every day, all day. That's all I did for like 10 years straight. And it was honest. I'm not even exaggerating. I gave like a decade of my life solid working my balls to the bone, to where I was losing my mind because I was becoming very successful. Like the business was doing great. I was making really good money. I had vehicles and equipment and anything I wanted or needed. Nice vacations when I, don't get me, when I ever got to go. But I I had spent so much time doing everything for everyone else, not only like people that I care about. It's not even that. Like I want to do that. But like taking care of other people's problems with their properties that they own. And now I own 19 of my own, and I'm still taking care of your property so you can sit back and not do anything. But I have my own properties that, you know what I'm saying? I started getting resentful, and then I started just saying, you know what? I like how powerful air guns have gotten. I'm gonna spend some time and some money, and I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of really nice air guns, and I'm gonna compete with them. And I did, and I got sponsored, and I got to do that, and I scratched that itch. And then I wanted a muscle car. I always wanted a muscle car. I didn't get one when I was a teenager. I was taking care of my two little brothers. I bought myself a muscle car. Went in and $40,000. Boom, cash, done. And put another 35 into it. Anyways, that is something I always wanted to do, is build up my own nice muscle car, and I bought one and did it. And it's those are big accomplishments. I mean, the work stuff was obviously all the licenses and all that stuff was great, but you know, those are things that I've been wanting to do since I was a kid, and everybody else got to do, and I saw all my friends doing it and getting to do it, and I was working and saving and taking care of two brothers, and it just built up over time. So it's made me a lot more easygoing and a lot less resentful, because I finally got to do some of those things after all these years, which is kind of childish, but like, I don't know, maybe it is childish, but those are things that I've been wanting to do since I haven't been able to do them, which is ever until the last 5 or 10 years. And it's longer than that, but I didn't even, when I met my fiance / wife, not quite wife yet, fiance, when I met her, she asked me what my hobbies were, and I honest to God didn't have an answer. I had no idea what my hobbies were. I said I used to ride dirt bikes, but like I don't know, I don't have any hobbies now. All I do is work. And that was the honest to God's truth. How could I possibly have a hobby when I work 15 hours a day, 17 hours a day? It's like all I did is go home, eat and sleep, like literally eat and then hit the bed, and I didn't even turn on the TV while I was eating. But then by the time I had a 1-bedroom apartment in a basement that had like you walk in and there's the bathroom right in the stairs coming in to the side, and then it goes into one big area, and then there was a utility closet, and then there was a bedroom. And I kept my tools in the utility closet with the boiler, and then the bedroom, you know, I would hang out and I had my little office area in between the dining area and the living room, which was all one big room, but then I had a separate bedroom. So I'd be out there, and then once I finished eating, I would just shut off the TV and go in the bedroom and not even turn it on, just knock out. So, and that was renting from an employer. That was somebody I worked for. So he had me by the balls. But I didn't want to get away. I wanted to work. I wanted to save. Anyways, I'm rambling and I'm going to shut up, but this is stuff that is, I would want people to know, because listen, when I after taking care of my brothers and all that stuff, I had my own, you know, I had a business that was successful, and then I lost everything, and then you know, like everything, like I lost everything, and bad relationships, I just had a lot of negativity in that time, in my 20s, late 20s, going into 30s. And in the beginning of my 30s, I just changed. I just grew up, Not that I grew up as a kid, because I had to. I mean, I had to be an adult as a 15-year-old kid. But I mean, in a different way, like mentally, I really matured. And then I started changing what I was doing, and I was so dedicated to doing it right this time that I just didn't have time to do anything. All I did is work, work, work. But anybody can do it. I mean, it's a lot and it's not easy, but if anybody is having a hard time and you're having money problems, or you're having problems getting work, or you're having problems getting ahead even though you are working, you can do it. Like I'm telling you, this is America. We all have the same opportunities. You just have to go out there and get it. You have to really, really want it. I mean, I didn't at first, and that's why it didn't work. It worked a little bit, but it didn't really work. When I was serious, when I took it serious, when I was that dedicated and driven, my God, did it work. It's still working. I mean, like I had to stop advertising because I had so much work. So much work. I mean, I've done new construction, doctor's office I did on the Boston Post Road, like a $250,000 job. I've done like full 3-family houses. I've done a lot of big jobs, and then I've done those while I have 3 and 4 other jobs going on at the same time. I've run myself ragged, and because the more years I'm doing this kind of stuff, the more experience I get, and the more people want to hire somebody like that. So I use the analogy that it's a tidal wave, right? And it's a tidal wave you create. So I've been building up this tidal wave all these years, and then before I know it, like the tidal wave is bigger than me, and I'm not the one making the tidal wave anymore. The tidal wave's making me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so you work so hard just to work so hard. Like all these years I've worked so hard just to be able to work so hard. It's messed up, but yes, but I could drop everything today, and I've already been offered to sell this building. And I'll be straight with you. I managed this building from the old owner for 10 years, don't forget. 8 years, I'm sorry, 8 years, and his other 2 commercial buildings. So I managed all 3 of those for him for nearly a decade. And he sold me this building for $625,000, which is a lot of money. It sounds like a lot of money because it is a lot of money. I have no doubt, I've had nothing, I've had everything, and then I've had nothing again and everything again. I don't care about money enough to, but I know that 600,000 is a shit ton of money, but it's also not a lot of money when it's a property that's got a hell of a lot more value. And then, so 625 I bought it for, and he's upset that he sold it to me because he was worried about the dentist like retiring, and which was a legitimate concern because the dentist was getting old and wanted to retire. And he ended up selling his practice to an awesome guy that's 33, that's a new dentist, and the rent has gotten, it's basically double what it was. He's got more space. I made, and I did the job for very cheap for him. I expanded the dentist office into another section of the building, so he's got 6 new exam rooms that I built for him. So, and then I connected the HVAC, the electrical, all that stuff. So he's got sorry, I don't know what happened to the camera. It just kind of shut off on its own. Anyways, I didn't mean to get carried away talking about that kind of stuff, because that's not what I do this for. I don't do that on YouTube. I never have done that on YouTube. But I do that in life. I do talk to people like that in life. And when I see somebody, that's looking for change or looking for whatever, the first thing I say to them is, why aren't you looking for a job? If you really want to get your life together, why aren't you asking me for work? You see, I'm driving a work truck, or if I'm not driving my work truck, then you probably see I look like a working guy. I am a working guy. I mean, ask me for a job. Don't ask me for $1. But that's because most of the time they don't want more than $1. They want more than $1, but they don't want a job. They want drugs or whatever. But anyways, I'm done. I'm not gonna lecture you anymore. If anybody even is still watching this, which if you're not, I don't blame you. But I don't say any of this without good in my heart. I say all of this with purely good intentions, because I'm not competing with anyone. I'm not out for myself. Like I brought my friends along with me. Like they're successful they're successful as well, and they always have been, and they always would be. Like even if I hadn't trained him and had him as my right hand for so long, and then had him build a business and helped him do it, and then he's not with me, my right hand, like that anymore. I still call him like he's my right hand, because he's always there for me if I need him, but he's not with me every day anymore. Obviously he's got his own business now. But the point is that I'm not out for myself. I want to see other people do good. That makes me feel good. There's enough work out there for everyone. So I hope that if anybody actually did pay attention and watch this at the end, that I had no intention of doing, and don't know if I even should air it, but I probably will, just to give it a shot. If anybody did stay around this long, then let me know if you think that this is anything you would want to hear, anytime in the future, because I mean, this is how I really feel. I want to see people do good, and I know how to do it. Like I've had nothing, completely nothing, and I've had a lot. And I have a lot, and this I believe that I've done this well. I don't think I ever could have done this well if I didn't pay it forward, and if I didn't do the right thing and treat the next guy fairly and with respect. And if I had been a dick and been an arrogant fuck, excuse my language, but if I had been a real asshole and more arrogant the more successful I got, I think I would have crashed and burned. And I think that I still could. But regardless how many properties and rents and everything else that I have, I think I could still crash and burn tomorrow if I started being an asshole and treating people like shit and just not being a good person. Karma's a bitch, and it works real quick. But when you do the right thing, and this is what I truly believe caused all this to happen for me, is that I did all this in this business, managing properties, property maintenance, property construction, being a general contractor and a property manager, and every other thing that you could put a title to that has to do with real estate. I do it. And I haven't stepped on one person's toes. I haven't crossed anybody. I haven't burned anybody. I haven't done anything for anybody to say anything bad about. This whole time, all these years, in 25 years in this business, I've never done one thing that somebody could say a negative thing about. That's very hard to say. It's very hard for most people to say, especially in this business. I don't know what it is about the construction / real estate industry, but there's a lot. It's probably because you don't need a lot of experience to be able to do it. And if you're smart, which I mean, smart doesn't mean you went to school. Smart means you can figure things out. Smart means a lot of things, but if you're quick, if you're a hustler, then you can figure out a way to get a job in this business, because I would hire somebody like that. So, and so would anybody like me. Anybody that has a business that needs guys, they would give you a shot for sure. Why wouldn't they? They need a guy. They need guys. It's not that why would they not want to? They need the people. They literally need people. I literally need people even now. Anyways, I'm I'm done rambling. If you did like this part of the video, which is totally unexpected and unplanned, and I need to shut my face, then let me know, because I'll say more stuff like this more often, because I really hope if I could find a way to use YouTube as a platform to get a message like that out, to have people start really realizing that they can do things like this themselves, because I was nobody. I am nobody. I'm nobody now. I was nobody before, but I'm a successful nobody, and I was a not successful drowning nobody before. So if you're drowning, and if you're having a hard time or whatever, pick your head up and tie up your boots and get your ass out the door and get it done, because and do right by people on your way, and just don't cross anybody, don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie, don't do any of the 7 deadly sins and anything that doesn't feel right in your heart. And I guarantee you it'll come back to you. It does. It really does. It's hard to believe until you see it, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's a fact. I'm telling you, I have seen it, and I can't unsee it. It is an absolute fact. Anyways, I'm done. I'm shutting up. I have to go home. I'm very overtired, like I said to you earlier. But if one person that watches this video sees it till the end and hears what I'm saying and actually does something about it, it was so worth it. So worth it. That is more motivating than anything else. So I love all you guys. I appreciate all of you. And let me know what you think. And I will talk to you soon. Once I put that digital readout on and mount the scales and everything, I'll bring you back for one more clip, and then this is going out. Later.